Hi folks, so hot in here today, but I've got to do some work on the Reliant Regal engine, which is the Reliant Robin engine. I'm going to check the piston rings and make sure that we've got the right gap in them. I'll see you in a minute. Right, well, as you know, we've brought a brand new set of piston rings for the Reliant Regal engine, which is now the Reliant Robin engine, the 750 version, which we got here. The 750 pistons are actually the same size as the 850 pistons, and also the 600 pistons in the earlier engines are the same size as the 700 pistons. It's only the stroke that actually varies. I've got these piston rings here. Now, it's not just a matter of just putting them onto the pistons. We've actually got to check the gap in them first, and I'll show you what I'm going to do that. Well, first of all, they come in a set here. As you can see, they're already marked up. There are 3 rings on here, as you can see. Number 1 ring comes in this little package there. The middle package is number 2, which is the middle ring, and the end package here, number 3, is the top ring there, and that's the one we're going to be looking at today. So if I just take the top ring out, now these, as I say, are we've got to check the gap. Once it's compressed into the actual cylinder, we've got to check the gap is correct or within tolerance there. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. Right, well, the first thing we need to do is to actually insert the ring into the bore, and we want to be putting that in. Now ideally you want to be going down about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in the bore there. Make sure it's even all the way around, otherwise you won't get the correct measurement. What you can do is to if you wish, is just to get something like a blunt instrument, like a socket for example, put that on there, just take it down till it touches the top of the bore, and then just work your way around it, pushing it down, and make sure that it's all even all the way around. As you can see, if it's a bit high there, just push it down. So basically you're looking for it all the way around even. And what we've got here is the little gap in between the end of the piston rings before they join. That needs to be a certain distance. Now I've got a 0.25mm feeler gauge here, and that's in between the tolerance between I think it's 17 and 30, 0.17 and 0.30 millimeters. So I've gone in between for 25. So I'm looking, just slide that in, hopefully, which it does, it's a nice snug fit in there, in that gap there. So there's no filing needed to be done there. That piston ring's alright, so we can go ahead and fit that. We're going to do that for the other pots as well, and then we'll know that our rings are gapped, because sometimes what can happen, let me take this back out again, what can happen is these gaps can be too small, and when you compress and put them in the bores, don't forget the engine expands. It's important that you do check the gaps to that, and if we needed to alter the gap for that, there's different ways of doing it. You can file it by hand, you can file it with a little, probably a Dremel tool, but again you've got to be careful. You really want to take little bits off of that at a time, and if you're going to file it, don't forget to take the burrs off of it as well as you take bits off, and don't forget to check and measure as well, otherwise you don't want them too big, otherwise you've gone past the tolerance level. So we're okay with this one. That's how we're doing it. And as I say, if we come over to the actual manual here, you can see the piston ring gap at the top there is between 0.17 to 0.30. So we're right in the middle with 0.25 of a millimeter, or that could be said between 7 thou and 12 thou, which would probably be about 10 thou, something like that. So that's where your tolerance is, that's on your ring. So I'm going to do all these, and I'll see you shortly. Right, okay, so we've got the piston off. This is just I'm only giving you this as a sort of an example of what you've got to do to the whole lot, basically. I've actually cleaned the piston up now in the blaster, and as you can see there, we've got all the crap that was in the grooves out of it there. It's back to a nice matte finish as it was when it was new, and all we've got to do then is install the new rings on this, and then install the gudgeon pin back in, obviously with a lot of lubrication as we're doing it. Inspect the wear inside the small end bearings, which absolutely look fine. There's no scoring or pitting or anything in there. And you want to ensure that the little hole there, you can probably see there on top of the small end con rod there, is actually clear, but I don't know whether you can see or not in there, but we've got a lovely smooth finish in there, and it's like a brassy, it's not a roller bearing this type, it's just like a brass insert there. So just make sure that's nice and clean, and then once we look around this, we can see that all the grooves are totally cleaned out now, because a lot of the problem can cause gumming up of the rings in there. So these old rings obviously are showing signs of being gummed up. You probably can't see that, but I can. It's all sort of sludge in there, and the only way to do them really is to get them off and to actually replace them and clean them like this. So there we go, that's going to go back on. So I'm just going to fit this now, and I'll see you in a minute. Right, okay then, that's the first of the pistons done. All been gapped, the rings, the pistons been cleaned, we've checked the small ends, we've lubricated their small ends up and put the gudgeon pin back through and put the circlets back in, and I think you'll find that they're going back in a far lot better condition, with them rings all being lovely and free there, as compared to this one here, for example, which all the rings are gummed up there, as you can probably see. And what I did notice with these new rings that have gone in, they've actually got a spring behind them as well on the lower ring. So there's a spring inserted in them, which this one or the old ones never have. So as you can see, they're a lot better. All the marks are all clean, and also one thing to also note as well, that these piston rings as well, they got top written on them as well. So just that you know, they do go in a certain way as well. So just something else to be aware of. So I'm just going to carry on now, do the rest of these, and then I'll unbolt the crank, finish the crank off, lubricate that up, and then that'll be this ready to go back in. As far as the cylinder base is concerned, the studs have all got to come out, and then we'll check the level for trueness, and that'll be exactly the same with the cylinder head when I come to strip the cylinder head down. So I mean, if I can get everything to this sort of specification of cleanliness, I'll be well happy. So that's what we're looking for. Not much to do, although it's very hot in here at the moment. As you can see, we're over about 35 degrees, just under 35 degrees in here, and it's actually cooled down a bit. It was near a 40 about half hour ago. I've got the fan on there, as you know, and unfortunately that's why I'm doing a bit of more time lapse than normal, because you've literally got to have this off for about 15 minutes, and you really start wringing wet sweat in here. So I've got just show you this little thing I've done. I don't know whether you've checked over at Retro Hacks, my other channel. I've just done my first restoration video without any talking in. It's a new style of video, not for this channel. This is going to be on Retro Hacks. This is the flame gun. Let me show you. I know a lot of you were interested in this. I've just actually refurbished this now, as you can see, and as I say, that's my first restoration video on Retro Hacks. So if you want to see how this one ended up like this, go over there and obviously subscribe if you can. I'd love that if you could subscribe. And yeah, this is the flame gun I restored. I actually made these stickers as well, and obviously, I mean, you can't actually buy these stickers anymore. So what I had to do, I went on Google Images and I found an old one which was beaten up basically, and this is the image I found on there, and from there I was able to take it into Photoshop and actually recreate this, let's say right down to the small writing as well. It's not perfect representation, it's good enough though, and it definitely makes all the difference between just having it sprayed gold and having something which really does look identical to the original stickers. You can't get them anymore. So that was the Sheen flame gun. If you're interested in watching that restored, just check out my Retro Hacks channel and go and have a look over there, and you'll find that on there. So I've got to put the fan back on now. I'm going to turn you off now, and I'll let you come back once I've done all this. I'm going to put the fan on, I'm going to have a cold drink, and I'm going to put the radio on and enjoy myself out here. I'll see you shortly. Right, well, I'm cracking on here now. I've done 2 pistons, and I just wanted to run through these ones again. These are the bottom rings here. I don't know if you can actually see, but there's a spring on the inside there, and if I take that spring out, as you can see, there is an actual joining strip within the spring, and that is a little piece of wire that threads through it, as you can probably see there. Now when you assemble these, put these on, obviously put that on first, but when you put the ring on top of it, don't put the open end, which is that end there with a little bit of wire, lining up with the gap in the piston rings. Put it so that the wire opens up on the other side, just in case that there is an issue. That's how they come, like that way round. So just to be aware that, make sure that that piece of wire and the opening in the spring is opposite the wire and opening in that. And as I said to you, on there for example, you probably can't see that, but it says the word top, so they are, make sure you also put them on the right way. So providing you sort of just apply it with a methodical approach and just be very gentle with it. You haven't got to force anything. You can just roll these over. This bottom spring goes on pretty easily, as I say, because there's no spring tension on it at all. It just opens up on that little piece. So I'm looking for that little gap now. Where is it? Right, so it's around this side. So I'm going to make sure that it says top on the top, and to make sure that the gap is over this side and not over this side. So I'll just have to sort of ease that around and just drop that onto the ring. And don't forget, this one, as I said to you, goes over the top of that spring. So just be a bit careful. You shouldn't have to be forcing anything too much. In fact, it's harder to get them off than it is to get them on. And as you can see there, that one's just gone on there nicely now. I've also oiled the grooves as well, by the way. So that one's on now. And again, the middle one has got the word top written on it. And I know these can revolve these, but just as a matter of course, I don't like lining gap up with gap sort of thing. So I'll put that one around the other way. I know they do rotate, but it doesn't matter on a 4-stroke engine so much. But on a 2-stroke engine, you've actually got pins, because you can't have the rings revolving around in a 2-stroke engine because they've got transfer ports in the barrels, and it's very easy for the edges of the rings to get caught in the transfer ports. Don't forget, on every piston ring that you do the gapping like we said earlier on. And again, this one here hasn't got the word top written on it, but there is a number on it, but I'm going to face that number facing upwards anyway. So I like to stagger the rings, as I said here, although they will rotate, as I said, but like that. And that's it. Now again, before we put the gudgeon pin back in, I've actually lubricated this. I've checked this and lubricated the small end bearing there, but I like to just get some oil just to make sure everything is well lubed up. Again, don't forget to check your gudgeon pin for wear as well. That should be absolutely silky smooth as well. And all you've got to do is to do the reverse procedure. You will need to probably tap this because they are a tolerance fit. You should be able to push it in a fair way. And I've got this copper-headed hammer here, as I've said to you before, and just sort of gently guide it in. Just be a bit delicate. If you've got it all lubed up correctly, you should be nice and floppy like that. I'm not hitting it right home, and as you see, just checking it all the time. And as I said to you before, I've got this little socket there which just sits on the end there. I'm actually supporting the piston. I'm not hitting against the conrod, I'm supporting the piston in my hand as well. So I just want to get that there, and I'm just tapping it home. Until it hits the circlip on the other side. I've still got the circlip in on this side, you see, so you'll feel a change in tone when it hits home. And you can also see there as well the groove. And make sure that you've got the circlip in correctly. Pair of circlip pliers. Hold that in there. Okay. And if you're unsure whether it's in, just go around with a screwdriver and you can feel it pop in. It just popped in there. That's it. And it should revolve in its groove there. And that's it, job done. So there's another one done. I'm going to carry on doing the last one, and I can't show you that because that little bit I've done there, I'm absolutely sweltering hot now, and I've got to put you on standby again, so I'll see you when I finish this. Oh, very, very hot in here, nearly 40 degrees now. Right, I managed to clean all the pistons up. We put the pistons back on the con rods now, and just to show you the sort of finish we've got on these pistons now, they're ideal for going back in, so let's show you. So as you can see there, lovely new rings on all the pistons, they're all in the right order, and as you can see, all the burn marks that was on these pistons is now all disappeared. Everything's been lubricated up and ready for installation, so these are basically ready to go. As you can see, look, they're virtually like new pistons again now. So this will have to be run in obviously, but you know, because we've honed the bores out, as you know, we've got the new rings on, they've got to settle in, but as you can see, that's the effect I was after. That's what we've actually got now. Those parts, in my eyes, although they're on the standard bore, they've done very little mileage, and these are the original pistons, just been dressed up and basically been serviced. Okay then, so there's lots of parts of this build at this stage of the game which I'm not really going to show you. It's a lot very boring, things like cleaning engine parts up and components and stuff like that now. We're going to carry on and do that sort of stuff out here, obviously when it's a bit cool. It's a bit too warm at the moment, so I'm going to go in there and have a nice cold drink, have a shower, and then sit down indoors. So don't forget, check out our other videos as well, and also rate, comment and subscribe, and take a look over on my Retro Hacks channel for my new style restoration videos, which ain't going to have me talking. These restoration videos on this channel obviously still going to stay the same, so don't worry about that. But as I say, you can see the other sort of videos I'll be doing over there as well. That's Retro Hacks, and my first one up is the flame gun, the Sheen flame gun. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this little snippet of information, and we'll see you in the next video, and until then, bye for now.